Today we want to look at how we can find a value when given a proportion. Back on page 7 of this homework packet, we were introduced to Frank, who wanted to be accepted into a prestigious study abroad program. In order to be considered for the program, each applicant took an entrance exam. The mean score of all students was 79%, with a standard deviation of 5.9%. If the program only accepts applicants within the top 5% of scores, what score would Frank need to be accepted? So we're talking about all students, which is the population. So we're looking at a density curve. The average score was a 79%. Standard deviation was 5.9%. If Frank needs to score in the top 5%, that means that 95% of students would have to score below him. Top 5% is another way of saying the 95th percentile. 95% of candidates need to get below Frank in order to make it into this program. So first we're going to state our variable. In this case, we're going to let x be Frank's test scores. The variable x has a normal distribution. Where mu is 79% and standard deviation is 5.9%. Basically, we need to find what value will give us 95% of the area shaded. So we're looking for the value of x. Where 95% of test takers scored to the left. So looking at our normal curve, we know that right down the middle is going to be our mean. And we know that 95% is going to give us somewhere around here. So we're looking for all this. What value would have to be here in order for all of this area to be shaded? So this area is 95% or 0.95. Another way of saying that 95% scored below. So the first thing we need to do is we need to identify the z-score that's needed to get this amount of shading. So our plan is we're going to go into the table and we're going to find the entry whose area is closest to 0.95. Remember, 0.95 is not a z-score, 0.95 is the area. That means that we're looking in the table at the middle part, not the outside part. So the entry whose area is closest to 0.95 could be this one, it could be this one. Since they're both equally close, it doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm going to choose 0.164. because the corresponding z-score here is 1.6 and then 0.04. So to get this, your z-score would have to be 1.64. We're interested in x. We want to know what the actual value of the test score has to be. So we need to use our z-score formula to help us figure out the rest of the problem. So since z is x minus mu divided by standard deviation, we just found out that the z-score necessary to be in the 95th percentile is 1.64. We don't know the score, but we do know that the average is 79, standard deviation is 5.9. And this is where we're going to use our basic algebra to help us solve. So we multiply by 5.9. Add them together and we get 88.676. So our conclusion, to be in the top 5%, test takers, Frank would need 88.676%. All right, let's do one more. So, this is my pup Shadow, and after his most recent vet visit, I was informed that he was in the 70th percentile of weights for dogs his height. After a little internet reconnaissance, I found out that the mean weight is 32 pounds with a standard deviation of 2.7 pounds. How much does Shadow weigh? So we need to define our variable. So let x equal Shadow's weight. So we know that the variable is normally distributed. Oh, that's what we're assuming. So since we're looking at the 70th percentile, we know that that's 70% have to be less than Shadow. So we're looking for the area So we're going to sketch our curve. We're talking about a normal distribution. Here's our median. Our mean is right there at 50, halfway. So 70%, let's estimate, is about here. And we're looking for everything that's less than that, because percentile means the 70% way less than this value right here. So we need to find the z-score. Again, this is not the z-score, this is the area. So we're interested in the middle of the table, the entries in the middle. We're looking for which entry is the closest to 0.7. This right here is the closest to 0.7, which has a corresponding z-score of 0.52. So z equals 0.52. Now we can help us use our z-score to figure out the value of x. So here's our formula for z-score. We now know that the z is 0.52, mean is 32, standard deviation is 2.7. So we use our algebra skills and multiply both sides by 2.7, add 32 to both sides, so our conclusion looks something like this. Since Shadow is in the 70th percentile, he weighs approximately 33.404 pounds. My husband says that we should put him on a diet, but I refuse. I love him just the way he is.